Visual literacy, advertising, lesson 3 of a series of 4. And today we're going to look at various visual and linguistic techniques used by advertisers. It's very clear from what we see right here in front of us, how both the visual and the written text actually go together to bring across a certain message. In this case, an advertisement from the United Nations Children's Fund. And you can see that you've got this splash, this drop of water. And then on the right-hand side, it says that 1.5 million children die every year because of polluted drinking water. Now, it's very clean, it's very clear, and the message there actually is brought across by both these aspects. So both the visual and the linguistic techniques are important. However, there's more to advertising than just meets the eye. The advertisers know that we respond to an advertisement on a personal level, and therefore they don't only speak to what we can see and what we can hear right there. They also speak to our subconscious mind with subliminal messages, and they work on associative meanings, implicative meanings, and denotation, connotation. So there are other methods that they use to try and manipulate our minds. So just to give you an example, we've spoken about logos, we've spoken about slogans, taglines, and these work together to suggest to us the brand name. But what is not very clear from looking at this is that there's more to this. For instance, how did they go about putting together this slogan? It says grace, it says space, and pace. 3 things: grace, space, and pace. So these rhyme and they make use of assonance. So giving us that sort of a ringing tone, it's something that we must hear in our heads. And it makes it, of course, easier to remember. That's the hidden thing there. The assonance makes it easier to remember. Apart from that, they use the technique of the triplet, the 3-word slogan, which is the keep it short and simple principle, also used to make it easier to remember. So we are very subtly being manipulated. So other methods that they use to manipulate the viewer, and that you should really become aware of, is how they use font types and font sizes to bring across a certain message or to emphasize a certain message. Because the various fonts, for instance, if you look at Times New Roman, if you want to bring across, say, in a picture where a person looks respectable, etc., and it's about this situation where this person is climbing the corporate ladder or something, they might use a font that suggests a personality of respectability. So fonts actually have a lot of hidden meaning. So it's perhaps good to look into these various aspects. And next time when you have to analyze an advertisement, to just keep that in mind. So does the font suggest to you tradition? Does it suggest stability? Does it come across strongly? Does it come across in a friendly way or an elegant way? Just become a bit more aware of this, and you'll see that soon it's going to start resonating with you inside, and you're going to be able to feel the mood that these fonts types can actually bring across to you. Also, font sizes play a big role. You'll often find that the headings are written in huge and bold font to stand out. Very often, like a subtitle will be in italics. Also become aware of that. And the main thing is that you must ask yourself, what effect does it have on you? What mood does it awaken within you? Because it's meant to hit some kind of string inside. So therefore, it's useful to ask yourself, how do you feel when you see that font? And then how would you answer it? And also think of the picture around it, etc. Everything that suggests perhaps tradition. Is it to suggest a traditional atmosphere or what? It's up to you to go and figure that out for yourself. They also make use of color. These are just two little pictures from the slide that we're going to look at next. But just looking at this, you can ask yourself, what effect does a certain color have on you? Normally, when white is used, purity is suggested. When red is used, passion, romance might be suggested, depending on the advertisement itself. Green usually suggests to us growth, the outdoors. Yellow is normally associated with happiness, for instance. So advertisers make use of color to also, on a subliminal level, manipulate our moods. Let us just have a look, for instance, how very cleverly Coca-Cola went on and changed its brand identity by using this series of advertisements. What did they do? They used a new slogan, and that is to live on the Coke side of life. Live on the Coke side of life. It's on every one of these. Live on the Coke side of life. Live on the Coke side of life. So that's there all the time during this brand identity campaign. They've decided on live on this Coke side of life slogan. Now, see how they very cleverly made use of several methods that might not be, very obvious when you just first look at it. But you'll also see that in every one of these, they have a Coke bottle, a Coke bottle, etc. everywhere, and it's bursting with flavor. It's bursting. It's there, right? But note how they used other methods to suggest certain occasions or certain personality types. In this one, for instance, which I find very interesting, they used the Coke bottle, but it's more or less in the Coke color of Coke, right? And they also have the same idea of the burst of flavor. And this time, I think what they suggest through the straight lines, through the lack of color, right? Through the straight lines of the building and the white and black that they use there to give us a more formal situation. And it is suggested, for instance, that in the corporate world, that's just the place where Coke should be. Corporate people drink Coke. If you look at this, it looks like a very formal occasion. I think of perhaps a matric farewell. It's very formal, sophisticated. Coke is a place, is the right drink for the place and the occasion. In this case, look how we see the outdoor world. We see people playing there. And what do they drink? Coke. Here, it can suggest perhaps a party. Here, whatever situation you might think of, traditional, fantasy, children's parties, whatever, wherever you go. In other words, in every life situation, in every personality, for every personality type, the whole world is ready to drink Coca-Cola. Every person, every occasion. So I think it was a very, very clever campaign that they used. And can you see that these things work on a subconscious level? Now, Lund in 1947 came up with 5 principles of language in advertising. And he says that advertisers very cleverly use language specifically, to create a certain effect or to reach a certain goal in terms of their advertisement. And in every advertisement, he said, there must be language that will attract attention. You must first attract the attention. It's almost similar to the IDA principle, but attract attention of your viewer. Linguistic techniques that will attract the interest. Somewhere in the language, there must be something to arouse your interest. In other words, to make you feel interested in the product. The first one is, of course, to attract your attention immediately, and then your attention must be kept. The very important thing that we know about advertisements is that there must be language to stimulate desire. They must get you to want to buy this product. Then there are also linguistic methods that they use to try and convince you, to create conviction, so to get your opinion. And then, of course, they have to get you into action. And certain language aspects do that. They must make you now want to go out, do something practically about this, go out and buy this product. So these are the 5 things that Lund said. Now, for you to perhaps ponder a while and to go and use perhaps when you analyze your advertisements, is to look at the following and perhaps make sure that you understand how this works, because you will be asked specific questions on this. What is the reason? Why are these linguistic techniques used in an advertisement? And then you will have to say, for instance, that I think it is to attract the initial attention of the viewer, or it is to stimulate the desire of the buyer. So these are the methods, the linguistic methods that they use. And as we go through them, just think about it for a moment. If we look, for instance, at rhetorical questions, very, very often you'll find rhetorical questions in advertisements. You'll get puns, right? They'll make use of alliteration, catchy phrases, big or unusual font, like we said, beautiful or shocking pictures in the focal area that actually complement the language. And you might ask yourself, if you ask yourself, what is the purpose? You'll probably say it is to attract the attention of the buyer. Rhetorical questions are used for more reasons, so make sure that it's not only for attracting the attention initially. They can also be used, let's look at number 2, rhetorical questions. Now they bring in, say, scientific evidence to prove that this product is good. They give us more product information. They say it consists of X, Y, and Z, and that's why it is actually good. They include testimonies by doctors or pharmacists or people of celebrities, perhaps, and also endorsements. That doctor uses it, or that prominent person uses it. So it's an endorsement. What does that do? It may, once your attention has been attracted, that may sort of arouse more interest in the product. So they're giving you evidence to prove that this is a good product. Now they might come up with language that appeals to your ego, the language that gives you perfect representations of the desired goals. In other words, if you take this, you will be totally happy or whatever. Perfect pictures. And they'll give you promises of pleasure and attention. Can you see how that is all has to do with the ego? Right? This will make you happy. It's going to make you an important person. So that obviously has to do with desire. And as I said, that is a very important one. So they appeal to your ego. There might be appeals to your intellect and your conscience, and also some more endorsements, expert witnesses, such as doctors and so on. All of those things can also serve to create conviction. Right, my attention has been attracted, my interest has been aroused, I now desire the product. Now they convince me that this product is the best, is the right thing. So all of these things, number 4, can create conviction that should you go out and buy this product, it is the correct one to choose. Now they come up with things like last minute offers, such and such a date, or only until the 14th of December, or only for 2 days, or only this morning. So there is a last minute offer given. They tell you perhaps more about their sales and how to go about it, and information where to get the product, perhaps telephone numbers or addresses, whatever. But they give you last minute offers, for instance, and these other things, numbers to call, as I said. They might also use exclamation marks to suggest urgency to you. And so they want you to now get into your car or get onto your phone or just do whatever you have to do to go and buy that product. And they get you into action. So if you are asked questions on a certain aspect, they give you perhaps a line from the advertisement, and they ask you, why do you think the advertiser put this line in? Just ask yourself, what do they do in that line? Are they trying to get your desire going? Are they arousing your interest? Are they creating conviction? Are they trying to get you into action? So your answer will then be, they are trying to get you into action because they give you telephone numbers and addresses, and they urge you to do it now because it's a limited offer. Then you have to just give a full answer in that regard. Bye for now.